For centuries, a mystery lay hidden in the granite hills of southern Africa. A city of stone that was so massive, so precisely built, and so advanced that even when European explorers came across this massive structure for the first time in the 19th century, they refused to believe that it was an African relic. It was a precisely built and a massively organized city built with granite stones. Of course, when Europeans came in contact with this gigantic structure, massive and precise in nature, they couldn't believe, neither could they accept that this structure was absolutely African, built by African, and sitting on the African continent. They claimed it was the work of the Phoenicians or the Queen of Sheba. They were absolutely wrong. This is the story of Great Zimbabwe, the capital of an empire that a modern history is almost forgetting. At its height in the 13th century, the Great Zimbabwe Wall was not just a fortress, but the very heartbeat. You see, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe controlled the influx of gold and diamond across the continent. Whilst Europe was still developing and coming up, the great Zimbabweans in the 13th centuries were building an empire, a wall that could house over 18,000 citizens. If you look closely at the wall, the architectural detail says nothing less of the geniuses of the indigenous people of Great Zimbabwe. If you look even more closely, you'll realize how much of a nexus the Great Zimbabwe Empire was to trade routes between the Great Silk Road from the east and Africa. Great Zimbabwe is the middleman of the medieval world, a global trading hub that is not just accidentally placed where it is, but a key point connecting to the Indian Ocean as well as the Silk Road. But true genius lies in the stone themselves. There are over 1 million stones, granite stones stacked upon each other, one after the other, stylistically and strategically placed without mortar, and they still stand today, hundreds of years after they were placed. The walls, they reach a height of 36 feet and span a length of 800 feet. Of course, the great Zimbabweans were not just stacking rocks one on top of another. It was a precise geometry and acoustics. Within the walls, structures are strategically built. They were built with the strategy and hierarchy such that a king could stand atop his complex and speak. And whilst he speaks, his voice is acoustically transported down to the valley below in a manner that everyone could hear him loud and clear. This was a silent stone-bound communication system way ahead of its time. It was technologia. By the 15th century, either overgrazing or a shift in trade or a shift in focus made this city to be abandoned. But today, the remains of the walls are still present for you and I to see and have a glimpse at the wonder and grandeur of the Great Zimbabwe. This wall, along with other great monuments like the pyramids of Giza, as well as the pyramids in Sudan, and the 11 churches of Lalibela, as we will cover in our upcoming videos, and as grand testimonies and a protest against the simple lies that Africans are incapable of grandeur, that Africa has no history of monumental architectures. Great Zimbabwe is not a ruin. It is not a relic of the past.